It's been a very challenging year for our first guest, Niagara Falls Mayor Jim Diodati. The shutdown of the tourism sector has hit the city harder than anywhere else in the region. And of course, we're still dealing with a border that's been closed for a year. Mayor Jim, thanks for joining us today. We'd like to reflect on 2020 leading into 2021 and the challenges that you've faced as Niagara Falls Mayor.
Well, it's been a huge challenge. I mean, obviously tourism is absolutely the lifeblood of Niagara Falls. Matter of fact, 40,000 people count on tourism to put food on the table, to pay their rent, pay their mortgage. 40,000 people. And when you shut the border down, the border hasn't been shut down like that since 9/11. When you cut off the U.S., and we get 12 to 14 million people a year, approximately 25% of them come from the U.S., and that 25% reflects about 50% of the revenue. So when you shutter the border, kick everybody out, and you send them home, that really puts us on our back. And it put us in the worst way. And of course, going into the summer, and a lot of people really sad. You know, and it's not just the COVID and the health challenges, it's the financial and the mental health challenges that people deal with in isolation. We know that opioid overdoses are up double. We know that mental challenges are way up. We know that domestic violence is up. But I will say this, in Niagara Falls and in tourism in general, we're very resilient. Resilience is part of our DNA. We've bounced back, as I mentioned, after 9/11, after SARS, H1N1, currency fluctuations. There's been all sorts of crazy things that have happened, and we always bounce back. But as Lisa MacLeod, the Minister of Tourism, says, we're like the canary in the coal mine. We're affected the first and affected the longest. And appreciative of that, we're expecting a strong bounce back. I'm hoping like a rubber band, it snaps back.
That's something that you've said before, that we're going to snap back like a rubber band, and you still feel that way?
I do. And you know, when you look at Ellis Jacob, the CEO of Cineplex, who's a Niagara guy originally, was talking about how Cineplex has bounced back in markets that are ahead of us, like Japan and Australia and New Zealand, and how they're having record box office numbers because people are dying to get out. They're hungry for fun, social activities. They're done with takeout, they're done with board games, they're done with hanging out at the house. They want to do things. And I really believe that people, as soon as it's safe to do so, they're going to do so with a vengeance. They've been saving their money, they haven't been buying much, and I really think they're going to step up. And I think places like Niagara Falls need to be ready for the onslaught.
Later on in today's program, we're speaking with Mayor Robert Ristino from Niagara Falls, New York. The issues of the border, obviously, very, very important for both you and Mayor Robert. How have you communicated with him about what you would like to see when that border reopens?
Well, Robert and I stay in touch. He's a great guy, great mayor, former judge. And, you know, before all this happened, you know, we were out for lunch and we did a couple of things together. And I said, when this is all over, I'm coming across the border, I'm giving you a great big hug. And we talked about the challenges because Niagara Falls, we like to say it's one big city divided by a river, or an arbitrary dividing line between the two cities being the border. And it's been huge because we have family on both sides of the border, friends on both sides of the border. One of my best buddies lives in Buffalo, and him and his family, we always get together and do things together, and we haven't been able to do any of that. We stay in touch, we text every other day. People don't realize that a lot of people here live in Niagara Falls but work in Niagara Falls, USA, and vice versa. So we're really used to that. And I grew up at a time where you didn't even carry ID to cross the border. You know, you go across the border to shop or visit your relatives or whatever the case was. And now we've gone the other extreme where you can't even cross the border. So it's definitely been disruptive, not just from an economic point of view, but from a social point of view. We miss each other. We miss that going over the river for wings, catching a Bison game, them coming to catch a Leafs game. The things, again, that we took for granted that we can't do anymore. So I think we've come to appreciate things that we didn't give a second thought to. Well, now we realize, you know, boy, I can't wait to go for buffalo chicken wings at the Anchor Bar. Or I can't wait for the chance to be able to do whatever it is that you miss.
For sure. Council greenlighted some big projects around the Fallsview Avenue area just before the pandemic hit. What's the status of projects like that and other future projects as we move into the rest of 2021?
So everything's full steam ahead, Mike, and we did not slow down on anything because the City Hall is deemed an essential service, and infrastructure projects, once we determined they were safe to go forward. So different projects like the Farmers Market, that we're going to be building, and the Culture Hub. That's moving forward. That's a $14 million project that'll be connected to the Niagara Falls History Museum. The neat thing about that is when people come to Niagara Falls, and when people travel in general, they're changing and they want more experiential things. They don't typically want the touristy things that everybody goes to. They want to know, where do the locals eat? What do the locals drink? What do the locals do? They want to go to the local farmers markets and flea markets and things like that. So I can't wait till we open up that new farmers market. It's going to be really neat and it's not just for the tourists. Of course, it's mostly for the locals. So projects like that are moving forward. We took out the bridge at the end of Robinson Street. There used to be this overpass that didn't really serve any purpose. We took that out, brought it down to grade. We're fixing up the roads. And the biggest one of all is we've got this beautiful $140 million state-of-the-art theater. A beautiful entertainment center that never saw the light of day.
That's right.
And this is one of the foremost entertainment centers in North America. They went and traveled around to all the best entertainment centers to pick up the best, and I've toured it a number of times, and they said, you know, this will be as exciting for the performer as it is for the spectator because of the sight lines, because of the acoustics, and little things like each chair's slightly different size and width than the next one so that you don't have some guy's big head right in front of you when you're trying to watch a performance. And they did things like extra washrooms because worst thing is your favorite act is on playing your favorite song and you got to go to the bathroom. So a lot of things like that. So that's full speed ahead. And I can tell you, we've got all sorts of proposals that we've approved. There's going to be more rooms. There's going to be more activity. The hospital's moving forward, the new hospital, new wastewater treatment plant. I'm telling you, when we come out of this, which we're on our way out, we can see the finish line. The vaccines are being administered. It's going to be an exciting place, and it's going to be an exciting time. And I say, get ready for that rubber band experience.
It's a perfect spot to end. Jim, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate your time.
My pleasure. But I feel like I've been seeing you all along because you're on all the buses around the region now, Mike. That handsome face everywhere I look.